have shared.
Awesome. And it's getting live streamed. Yay.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Very well. Happy. How are you?
I am good too. How does it get any better? What else?
Truly, how does it?
Yes.
Yeah. On a day like 10th of September, that is the Worldwide Suicide Prevention Day. We just thought we would hop on, and both Palak and I, and we thought that we would talk about suicide and talk about, sadness, talk about all those different reasons and justifications that people give of why they needed to commit suicide. And, to actually bring it out of hiding and to bring that white elephant out and actually look at it and talk about it instead of constantly hide it under the carpet and be like, don't talk about suicide, don't talk about sadness, don't talk about depression. They are bad things. Don't talk about anxiety. Don't let anyone know you have anxiety and panic attacks because people will judge you. All of that.
And it's very Western. It's not, it's like, how much do we actually kind of just brush it away?
Yeah.
And I mean, I hadn't thought it would go this way, but I'm just looking at, like, in your growing up years, as you are, number one, taking help is considered a weakness.
Yeah.
Mental health is not even a priority. And if you bring it up, it's like, pagal thodi ho. So everything which is like related to mental health is not madness, and madness is not like something, And third is like, do we, for me, this energy is very loud right now. Like, if we could allow our kids to express themselves from childhood, would that create more space? Like, allow them to cry, allow them to express joy, allow them to acknowledge and embrace failures. And without making anything so significant.
That. And without breaking down as a parent. I mean, how often does a child look to you to talk to you about something that's going on in their world? And as a parent, you decide that you are a failure and you break down because that's your way of dealing with the situation instead of, going into question or going into, okay, what do you require? And what if it's okay to go to a therapist? What if it's okay to go to, go get your bars run? What if it's okay to look at these different ways of changing what you've decided is unchangeable? Because, when you as a parent, you break down when your child comes to you and says, I think I'm in depression, or I think I'm really sad and I get these panic attacks. Most of the parents don't know what to do with that energy. Because, if they come to you with a mom, I have a headache or I have a fever, you'll be like, okay, I'll get you a Crocin, or okay, I'll get you a paracetamol. It's a kind of a reaction to what they're coming to you with instead of asking a question. And a similar reaction to any kind of mental illness, as it's so defined in this reality, is a major reaction of how wrong and how the world comes to an end now, because there is no solution. You're hopeless, you're helpless, you can't change this. And how, so what would it be like if we could empower our children and empower ourselves in the process? And even if you don't have kids out there, what if you could empower yourselves to know that depression is a lie? Not all the time, but most of the time it's a lie. Sadness is a lie. And what Palak and I were looking at and thinking of talking about is just this energy of, should I go on, Palak? Or I mean, I would love you to pitch in here, and
No,
then I
no,
can,
I am.
you know.
I'm loving what you're
Okay.
talking.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So it's like, sadness is something that you perceive, you don't feel, because you, the being, does not feel, your body feels. Your
Yeah.
body feels pain, your body feels cold, your body feels hot, your body feels the satin sheets, your body feels the rough sheets, your body feels, your being does not feel. But when you say, I'm feeling sad, you are actually perceiving sadness in the world. You're perceiving somebody's sadness, and now you're making it yours. And when you say, I feel something, or I have something, guess what? You just owned it.
Yeah.
And then
And,
you go into trying to change, sorry, you're going to trying to change it, and you can't because it was never yours.
yeah. And I just want to step back a little and
Yeah.
like I'm sure the audience on the group is everybody who's done some bit of access, but for those who've not done
Yeah.
access at all and who are coming across this as for the first time, please know that you are not your body and the being is much, 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 much bigger and it's infinite. So, and that's where the distinction between body feeling and being perceiving shows up.
Yeah. That.
and and it's and as you said, like 99%, like 99, I would say 99.99% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not ours. So who does it belong to? uh, but before having to even use any tools, at times when you are in a funk, uh, and if you've not been practicing or you knew, please know that it's okay to ask for help. And I was very impressed. My son asked, if I say the name, she may start singing, but he said, Alexa, please play the song. It's okay to ask for help.
Mm,
And I was like, what did you say? He said, yeah, I want to listen to It's Okay to Ask for Help.
wow. Yeah. And what if it is okay to ask for help, right, Palak? And what does your son know, who's all of what, 5?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
5.
And what does he know? What is he aware of?
And most of the time, inside of maintaining our image, maintaining maintaining that comfortable distance with people, we don't share. But what if you could
Yeah.
ask for those kind, nurturing people to show up in your life who are there for you? Like, I'm sure that if, when those thoughts, societal thoughts are coming, and if when one made just one call,
Yeah. Just
and
that one call. Yeah. Just reach out to that one person. And yeah, I mean, and it's not about saving people on the planet. I mean, if someone is wanting to choose death, who are we to stop you? But it's more about, hey, in that moment, would you give yourself a second chance? In that
yeah,
moment, would you be willing to look at life differently?
yeah. And what would that choice really create? I mean,
Yeah.
uh, I have known parents whose kids chose suicide, and it takes probably a lifetime to deal with it.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that, Palak, because it leaves behind a void, leaves behind questions, leaves behind guilt, leaves behind shame, leaves behind so much of regret, and that the family is left to battle with and deal with. And does that, and it's like, if we could actually look at what is having you reaching out to suicide as a choice. Most of the people reach out to suicide as a choice because they've decided that they're helpless, they're hopeless, there's no one there to help them, or they have this massive anxiety attack and they're like, I got to get out of here now, now, now. And it's like, it's literally like this energy just overtakes them and they cannot look beyond that. It's like they're so encompassed with that energy, with that black, heavy, dense energy, that they're like, I can't take a step forward, leave aside breathing. So, it's like in that moment, what if you did, okay, even if you didn't have the energy to call, even if you didn't have the energy to call somebody, what if you could ask yourself a question of, who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? Return it to sender with consciousness attached. That's the tool that you just want to go to, because you want to recognize, like we spoke about earlier, your being is really aware of what's going on around you, and your body is extremely aware of other bodies too, And when you are aware of, and you're perceiving people's sadness, and you're perceiving people's helplessness and hopelessness, and you make that yours, you may be in reaction to that perception instead of taking action to change it. So when you ask a question is when you're actually taking action, and you're like, okay, who does this belong to? Return it to sender with consciousness attached. When you're asking that, you're getting present with, this energy is not mine, and whoever this is, I return it to them with consciousness attached. So when you say with consciousness attached, you're actually flowing this energy back to them with the energy of choice, which they thought that they didn't have earlier. So when they receive that energy of choice, guess what? You might even change it for them.
Yeah,
So in that moment, you've not just changed it for yourself, you have also changed it for somebody else. And it's a ripple effect. When they are like, oh, I have choice, I don't need to die, I don't need to commit suicide here, I can make a different choice. Okay, oh, it's not mine. Just that acknowledgement that this energy is not mine. You see,
yeah,
there's so much of anger, there's so much of hate, there's so much of fear, there's so much of sadness in this reality. We are all aware of it. But what if you don't have to make it yours? What if it's just that simple?
absolutely. And I do get that it doesn't happen overnight. So it
Yeah,
happens over a period of time. And if at that moment you could ask a question, or you could be that space for somebody else too.
yeah, that, yeah.
Like
How
like
beautiful is
I
that?
I recommend that, maybe learning bars is a gift for everybody around you, because say if one
Yeah.
runs their kids bars and they like they tend, if the more and more they relax into what they are up to creating, it's so much ease rather than um just letting it, saying like fight it out. And the whole notion that
Yeah,
fighting it makes you stronger, um it takes you to a point where you are strong. I mean, it makes you stronger till a point you can handle it, and when you can't handle it,
yeah,
then you have nothing else available that can help you.
that, yeah. And I'm so glad you talked about the bars, Palak, because when you learn the bars, when you get to learn the bars, and you in a family, you know, you have that tool, that magical tool in your hands. And when you start to run your family's bars, your kids, your spouse, your parents, or whatever, they start to change. They start to change as people. The worry and the stress and the trauma that used to be in their life, which was so predominant in their world, which kind of was all that was actually available to them, was the drama and the trauma and the anger and the hate and this and the sadness, starts to melt out of their world, and they start to be happy. They start to be happy, which is like, in this reality, to be happy is a very is a very is a very it's a term that's used when you get something and you are happy. So you actually cannot be happy without a reason. But when you get your bars run, you're happy without a reason, because that's who you're being. You don't need a reason to be happy. You're just happy. That's your natural way of being.
Yeah, I mean, again, probably we're so entrained to go after happiness, which is, as you said, often linked to something which is outside of us,
Yeah.
and not have the joy which is more of inside, like irrespective of what's going on out there.
Mm.
That doesn't mean that we act like pigeons and stop, close our eyes and don't deal with what's happening, but irrespective of what was going on, you still have a choice, and know that you have a choice. It can be something as simple as, watching Netflix versus studying. And I do ask my daughter that you have a choice, like, and you can ask a
Yeah.
question, what would create greater for you? And at times, maybe watching a movie on Netflix may create greater for you too, as it gives you opportunity to relax. But if you think watching series after series after series would, maybe that too. I mean, depends on what you are up to creating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
Absolutely.
wrong. Like, I know my
Yeah.
niece is into creatives and she watches a lot of stuff, and the way she watches and she looks at it is very different from the way probably I would watch it. Like, for me, it's entertainment, it's a story that's going on, but for
Yeah.
her, the whole, the creative angle and how they're using, what they're using, what's going on,
Mm.
all of that makes a difference.
And what if we could actually be like that with everything that's going on, with every show that we watch? What if we can actually be that energy of, what can I learn from this? What can I learn
Yeah.
from this? Of course, be entertained, but also be aware of what you can learn from this. And it's so beautiful the way Palash shared of how, there's nothing wrong in just binge watching Netflix or studying. It's what are you choosing and what will create a greater future. That's the energy you want to actually instill into your kids and into yourself. I mean, it really starts with you. It's it always starts with you. If you're looking for change, you got to start with yourself. You cannot change a child who is prone to depression or prone to anxiety by telling him, I got to fix you and I got to work on you. No, you can't do that, because now you've just made him wrong for what he's choosing. There is no choice that's wrong. You can change something for him when you change for yourself, and be the inspiration for him to choose that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where, yeah, and that's where, Palak, where we as, as adults, or we have so many youngsters now coming into access consciousness and coming for the bars classes and coming for the the advanced classes after the bars. And it's so interesting to watch them, because children are free till the age of 16, 15, so which is actually absolutely phenomenal. So the kids come with their parents, or their kids come with their older sister or brother or father, mother, whatever. And to see the change in the children, to actually, I remember once we had a class and there was this little girl who, she was all of 7 or something, and she came to class, and on the third day she came to Isha and me and she said, I feel this is home. And just that, just that, just that, just that energy was
Yeah.
so beautiful, because she just looked at me and she said, I feel this is home. Because she said, I can say anything, and you hear me. So what if you, as an adult, also are just seeking that one person who would hear you. And what if you could be that person for yourself? Getting your bars run creates that. You start to receive yourself way more. You start to get present with what is true for you way more. And it's when you start to be that with yourself, people around you are inspired. They're like, what does she know? Who is she? What is she aware of? And that's when so many times, like, it's like you being you change the world.
Yeah. Yeah. We have quite a few people watching us. Good morning, everybody. Radhika.
Yay, good morning.
Seema. And Seema shares, like, saying that I've been there. I did think of taking my life when I was at the rock bottom. What kept me going was never give up, never give in, never quit, and just 2 more steps. Yeah.
Amazing.
Like that half
Beautiful.
step, 2 more steps.
Yeah.
I do get that in that moment, making a choice in that moment. And if you could ask one question, you could pause for a second. And I also acknowledge the fact that for the person who's dealing with it, it may be very, very intense. So, what space can each one of us can be that people are willing to reach out to us as a family, as a friend, as a relative? Most people don't reach out to their friends, family, and relatives is because they somewhere perceive that they're getting judged.
And they are, in this reality, mental illness is still not something that's talked about openly as a headache or a fever or a flu. It's still looked down upon. It's looked down upon, like you're not good enough. And when that's the energy that's so prevalent in this planet about every so-called, every labeled mental illness, who's going to be willing to acknowledge that they are in that space in that moment? So would you be brave to acknowledge that depression, sadness, anxiety is all an awareness? It's not true. It's not real. These are labels given to the energy that you are aware of. You are aware of the sadness in the world. You are aware of the anger. You are aware of the hate. I mean, what will it take to have way more laughter and joy and happiness on this planet? So you could actually start to be more aware of that. It's like the right now the prevalent energy on this planet is hate, anger, sadness, depression, anxiety. But what would it take for that to change and for the prevalent energy to be happiness, joy, and laughter?
Yeah, and also as we were talking about saying, like, most of the time we're
Yeah,
perceiving other people's sadness. So
yeah.
now, if our bodies are so intelligent, which they are, it's not a if, but what if people can perceive and we can perceive other people's sadness? What if
Yeah.
we could be a beacon of light or joy and happiness where people can start picking
Yes.
up on our happiness too, and that it is contagious? So,
Truly it is. Truly it is
what
so
if we
contagious.
could,
Yeah,
yeah, what
yeah.
if we could be that space where it starts from me, like,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah. And
uh,
just,
yeah, I mean, that
yeah.
it's like, while we talk about the whole anger, hate, everything, and rather than being angry about it, if we did not pay attention to it at all, would that melt away on its own
Yeah.
rather than resisting and
And what
reacting?
if, you could ask, yeah, that darling, that energy, rather than resisting and reacting. Because when you're in reaction to all of that energy, you're going to find yourself at the effect of it. But when you go to question, a simple question like, what can change this? Like, anger and potency, the energy is the same. very similar. Fear and excitement, the energy is very similar. So what if you could ask, is this anger or is this potency? And what action can I take here instead of being in reaction? What if depression is a reaction to what you are aware of?
Yeah.
What if anxiety is a reaction to what you are aware of? What if you could ask, what action can I take now that can change this? And you know, I just want to acknowledge Seema here and thank you for your vulnerability, honey, for sharing that, and the tool that you just shared of never give up, never give and never quit. That energy is what will keep you going, because that's the energy of asking questions to keep moving forward. You know, when
Yeah.
you don't give up on you don't give up on living, you don't give up on choice, you keep moving forward.
Ravi's sharing something very interesting. He says, I travel to work by local train, and at a particular area, the train is on the bridge. It came to me to jump from the train. I could get it. It was really not mine, but it was really strong. Jump, I asked it a few times, who does it belong to? And it got cleared. And this is a very classic case of,
Amazing.
I truly wonder how many other people had that thought in their mind that he was picking it up.
Yes.
When he cleared
Yes.
for himself, how many other people did he clear also?
That, right?
And it gives
That
me
Palak. I mean, got the gift. Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that, Ravi. What a beautiful example of exactly what we are talking about. Where, you know, when you clear that, you're like, who does this belong to? Return it to sender. And how many more people on the train right there in that moment were like, oh, this is not mine. Oh, why am I thinking to jump? I have a family back home waiting for me. Hello, am I crazy? So you laugh about it and be like, oh, I'm still choosing to live.
Yeah.
And you know, it's talking about the bars, which is the first body process actually, and it is a first class also. And either getting yourself to a bars class or getting your bars run is a brilliant idea. And what that really starts to do is it starts to get you to get aware of what is yours. You know, energies like worry, energies like stress. What if you could ask a question? And what if you could ask if you could use the energy of worry to your advantage? You know, worry is again a very, very dense, heavy energy, right? When you're worried, you see your body goes like this and your head, ooh, I'm so worried, you know. So your whole body language changes and you're no longer being you're just being this flesh of, you know, totally given up, no muscles, no space, just, you know, just gone kind of a thing. And what if in that moment you could actually ask, how can I use this energy to my advantage? Because it's a very, 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 very intense energy of worry. It can totally change your body, the way it looks, the way it be, the way it moves, and all of that. So what if you can actually ask, okay, how can I use this to my advantage? If this is not mine, return it to sender. And
Yeah.
what am I worried of? What am I worried about? Is it an awareness of the future? Is it excitement? What is this? Be in the question, guys. Be in the question. Don't conclude it's worry. Because when you conclude, I am worried, there is no question in that. It's just a conclusion. And you know, you have, what age did you decide that this is worry? You know, that you has you deciding and concluding this is worry. What if it's not worry? What different energy is this?
And also get your bars run. Like, I'm sure if you're new to Access, you haven't done any Access this month, find a bars practitioner. There are a lot of people who'll be gifting sessions or get a paid session done. Try it out and see what that creates for you.
And maybe it creates nothing, and maybe we're just talking bullshit. But go experience it. You won't know till you don't experience it.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
yeah.
till you try it for yourself, I can share what I got. Chanda can share what she
Yes,
got. But
please.
what you
Yeah,
would get is what you would get. And if
yeah.
you get
Everyone
nothing,
is different.
which is the biggest gift, like I do get that nothingness is the biggest gift. So if you get that,
Yes.
that itself is such a big gift. So
Yeah, absolutely. And how much change can that bring up in your world? I mean, the bars are truly magical. Absolutely. And like I said, it is the first body process that you
yeah.
learn. Yeah.
And in Access, it's like, Mars is the first body process that one experiences, that our body starts to receive. And thereafter, foundation, when like there's so much stuff gets created, and then we have body classes. Like I was recently in a one body class, and um it was so relaxing.
Yeah.
And when I say relaxing, it is just that so much stuff gets cleared that one doesn't even realize that how much of that stress, sadness, grief, one is locked into their body.
Yeah. Just that. You're getting I mean, attending a 3-day body class actually melts all that sadness, grief, anger, fear, because these energies are so heavy. And when you hold on to those energies, there really is no space for creation because you're holding on to this. It's like that old story of how, if you're carrying the baggage on your back, you got to take it off. You got to put it down to actually be able to run because you can't run with that baggage on your back. You can just keep walking. And as you keep walking, your walk gets slower and slower and slower because you keep filling up your baggage with more, thoughts and feelings and emotions and, anger and fear and hate and all of that. And you've got to take that off. You got to put it down and you got to be like, okay, this is not mine. And now, can I run? Can I fly? How, how much lighter would your body be if you could just take that baggage off? And what if the 3-day body class is about that? Where you start to recognize, you start to acknowledge what is truly yours. I mean, there are techniques in the body class that are taught to you because there are over 40 or 50 body processes, and each one is a technique, and they're really simple. And with the technique, it's not just a doing, there's you being with that energy that you're running, which is a body process. And who you're being with that is what starts to create and melt all that is not yours.
And now that you're talking, I was thinking was like when the whole thing of suicide or a death is not for the
Yeah.
being.
That, yes.
It is the body which we practically get rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the
And
being comes back, right? The being is like, okay,
the being comes back. And you
I'm
come
still
back
here. Yeah.
and you come back with everything that you may come back with everything that you haven't
Yeah.
resolved for you. So what if you could be a little more kinder to your body and just ask what it would it be? I mean, I have done 2 body classes in last 1 year, and um, it's been such a great gift. Like I,
Yeah.
the whole thing of dealing with my mom's moving on and all of that, and every class that I go to creates so much more ease for me.
Yeah.
And it is just taking, as Seema said, like, taking 2 steps at a time, 1 step at a time, or even if I take
Yes.
half a step at a time. But I am moving forward. So what would it, like, what gift is that?
And it's so interesting, right? How every body class, when you get body processes run on you, and you're exchanging with your partner, it's so interesting how you come back and suddenly you crack a deal that you've been working on since months and it's not moving.
Yeah.
Or suddenly, your relationship, which you thought was going down tube, suddenly it starts to change. Or suddenly something that you've been working on with your body that's not changing, like maybe a migraine, or maybe something that's worse or better than or better than a migraine, starts to change on its own. I mean, you healed your own body, and not from a space of healing your body, but really from a space of making a different choice with your body. So that's the beauty of these body processes of the 3-day body class, where you make a different choice with your body, where you allow your body to choose ease, to choose the lightness that it came here to be. So yeah, we just wanted to bring all of this magic into your worlds. And if you are listening to us, or if you catch this replay in the future, we hope this could contribute to you. And get yourselves to a bars class, guys, or get yourselves to a 3-day body class. It really could shift magnanimously. And there are a number of bars class happening in the world right now. Wherever you are, you can check out and get a facilitator for yourself. There are also a number of 3-day body classes happening right now at this very moment as we speak in the world, and that are scheduled for the next few days, next few weeks, next few months. So if you've done the foundation class, you are ready for a 3-day body class, get yourself onto one. And if you are looking for one in Dubai or in Delhi or in Bangalore, I do have one coming up, and Palak has all the details.
Yeah, I'll be sharing all the details, and please know that it's all about making a choice.
Yeah, so true.
And do ask if this will create greater for me.
Yes, absolutely. And we do also have one coming up in Bombay. How could I forget Bombay? Yeah, amazing. So ask, be like Palak said, be in the question, if this would create greater, if this would be a contribution, choose it. If not, you're not wrong. We don't have to choose it simply because we are saying it's going to change your life. It's what you choose. What can that create?
Yeah, I
Whatever
mean,
you choose.
you can
Be in the
choose.
question.
You can make a different choice too, but every choice that you make, please ask a question.
Yeah.
Does it get any better? Thank you, Chandana,
Truly.
for this talk. I mean,
Thank you, Palak.
thought that it would go the way it did, but I do perceive that it was a big gift for me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for the gift that you be, Palak, and thank you for the space that you be. Truly, we can go where we go simply because we are willing to go there together.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for you.
So much.
And thank you everyone for joining us, and see you all soon somewhere. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.